There's potential in the future.
And that future is reconstructing hearts. The staggering efforts of Mass General Hospital doctors to make diseased hearts new. Plus the future of NPR. Its new president joins us. And tackling mental illness in a musical. It's the Pulitzer Prize-winning show Next to Normal, now on Greater Boston. Good evening, I'm Jared Bowen in for Emily Rooney. Whether it be heart disease, heart failure, or a birth defect, about 100,000 people in America right now qualify for a heart transplant, but only about 2,300 will actually receive them. So what if doctors could actually take a patient's damaged, diseased heart and make it new again? It's an effort already underway at the labs at Massachusetts General Hospital. Greater Boston's Tony Waterman has more.
It's news Jeffrey Machena has been waiting for years, a one-way ticket out of the hospital.
So the big day is coming. The big day is discharge day.
Once an avid biker and motorcyclist, Machena couldn't even walk his rescue dog, Sean, just 2 months ago. Heart failure has kept him in and out of the hospital for years, sometimes for months at a time.
Every Christmas, every New Year's, for the past 5 years or so, I've been in the hospital. What's that do to the rest of your life?
Nothing seemed to help him, not a pacemaker, not a heart sensor. So when Machena landed back in the hospital this past December, his cardiologist, Dr. Kimberly Parks, says there was only one option left.
We realized that Jeff was not going to survive for more than several months unless we did something drastic. And at that point, we decided the only alternative he had was a heart transplant.
Machena received his new heart this past Valentine's Day. That's nothing new. Doctors have been performing heart transplants for 45 years. But what's happening to Machena's heart now, after surgery, is new. This machine is cleaning Machena's old heart, stripping it of all its cells to create a skeleton. Once that skeleton is formed, it will be injected with stem cells, which doctors hope will populate the heart skeleton, creating a new heart from Machena's old, diseased one.
There's potential in the future that if we were able to reconstruct an individual's heart, they could be placed on, say, a total artificial heart for a period of time while they're waiting for their new heart to be regrown.
Dr. Park says that's still a long way off, but if it works, thousands of lives could be saved. And other people with heart failure won't have to lose time waiting for a donor like Machena did.
I really hope for, to make it worthwhile for somebody at some point.
And with me now is Dr. Harold Ott of Massachusetts General Hospital. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Is so fascinating. So let me just begin. We shot this story about a month ago. So what is the status of Jeff's heart right now?
So Jeff's heart right now has undergone the washing process. All the cells have been washed out, and it's currently preserved in a saline solution with the goal to then repopulate that heart with Jeff's stem cells. So while that heart has been washed at the Massachusetts General Hospital, what we did is take cells from his peripheral blood and make stem cells out of these cells.
And they have to be his cells.
They have to be his cells. So the goal of this project is to derive new heart muscle from Jeff's own cells. And as you saw, his own heart is no good anymore. The way to do this then is sort of a little bit of a journey. You take somebody's peripheral blood. Jeff's peripheral blood was taken when he agreed to undergo this heart transplantation. And then you isolate certain cells from that blood in order to generate new heart muscle. And that goes over a little detour, which are stem cells. So these cells first become stem cells. They become capable of forming any sort of tissue. And then we currently work on redirecting them into, retuning them, so to say, into forming new heart muscle.
And this is something you've already done in rats. And how successful has that been?
So this is something we've done in rats, and we were able to generate little hearts that perform very little pump function right now. Not enough pump function to replace the existing heart, but it's a first step in the right direction. So some pump function was achieved, and that's why there's so much enthusiasm to try to push this towards clinical application, towards translation. Now, what has happened here is really the first time that the heart from a patient has been taken, from a transplant patient with heart failure, and his own cells have been taken in order to put the two back together.
What will this ultimately do? I mean, it's a rather staggering number to realize that there are 100,000 people waiting transplants, and just a tiny, tiny little fraction, 2,300, are actually going to receive them. So, moving down the road, and I'm sure you probably don't have a timetable. Do you have a timetable? No. What would it mean for this population of people waiting for transplants?
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to find a solution for end organ failure, for heart failure. Organ transplantation has made tremendous progress over the last 20, 30 years. And as you mentioned, for these patients like Jeff, these lucky patients that have the opportunity to get a donor heart, they're very well served, they do very well. The problem is, like you said, there's 100,000 patients that face a much smaller number of donor organs. And that's what we try to tackle. Instead of providing these patients with a donor organ from a different person, we try to regrow organs on demand. So if you have heart failure, ideally, and that goal for sure is far in the future, but still, if you have heart failure, you could come to your doctor, and your doctor says, well, your heart is, we can support you right now, but within the next 12 months, you'll need a new heart. And then we could go take a biopsy, go to the lab, and try to regenerate new heart muscle that can then be implanted similar to a donor organ.
What stimulates this growth? Once you cleanse the heart, as is the case with Jeff's heart right now, what is it that actually makes, without getting too scientific, what is it that makes these stem cells grow and create this muscle?
So what's fascinating is that every cell in the human body has the entire program to become anything. The good thing is that this program is turned off. Otherwise, we would be growing hearts as we grow older in many places where we don't need them, or we would grow different tissues. Now the key technology behind there that we use at the Massachusetts at the MGH, together with Sean Wu and Dr. Parks, as you saw, was to take adult cells that don't have the potential to become everything and reprogram them into stem cells, into cells that can become heart muscle, can become lung tissue, can become liver tissue. And what stimulates these cells is really that you have to reinitiate the development process. That's what's the key. A few growth factors, a few genes that you turn on, and that information that has been well packaged away in the cell gets reopened. Basically, the book of development gets reopened, and these cells are then capable of becoming heart muscle. Or
so is this sort of, in some ways, an application that you could also apply to livers and kidneys and other frequently transplanted organs?
Absolutely. So this is what we're trying to do. In our group, we try to tackle not only heart failure, but liver failure, lung disease, end-stage lung disease. So we try to apply this technology to develop lungs, hearts, kidneys, and livers, and pancreas in order to face end organ failure, treat these patients that are waiting for the rare donor organs.
We always know that, of course, Boston is a hub for this kind of really forward thinking and practice. Are there other teams like yours working? You told me right before we started the show that there are about 12 people working just in your department, but are there other teams like yours working around the world?
Absolutely. So there's a few groups. It's still a small world, so to say, for this kind of research. Organ regeneration has started a few years ago with the notion that whole organs, we might be able to not only regenerate certain cell types, but really take this up to the organ level. And there's a lot of enthusiasm for that. So all across the country and worldwide, there's quite a few groups now trying to explore this technology. And that makes me happy, because I believe that it's going to take a lot of brains to make that work.
All right. Well, Dr. Utz, thank you so much for coming. You're going to be Times Man of the Year one day. I already can see it. Thank you so much. And when we continue, the ups, downs, and the future of NPR, its new president shares all.